So the Viability Project came to the conclusion that we need to understand viability mainly in terms from a farmer's perspective. There is an assumption in many development circles that farmers are driven in their decision-making primarily by the need to make money. In other words, the economic and productivity sides of their practices. We wanted to have a look at the extent to which environmental concerns are also part of their decision-making. And the first conclusion is there in the title. Environmental benefits of agroecological practices contribute very strongly to farmers' assessment of the viability of these practices. I'm not going to go into the methods and all the results that we have. They are extensive. There was a lot of information in this from all the stages of data collection. I just illustrate one. Hundreds, literally hundreds of agroecological practices were reported and analyzed by farmers. I've just put on the screen just one example, and that is of agroforestry. And some of the reasons that farmers give that they use agroforestry are there. And you can see that those reasons are a mixture of things that are closely related to production, such as the effect of agroforestry in improving soil health or preventing erosion or managing microclimate to give a more improved microclimate. But they are also referring to these intrinsic values that they derive from agroforestry. Things like it makes the place beautiful, and that matters to farmers. So if we putting the agroforestry example together with all the hundreds of other practices, there are some key messages that we can pull out of the data. And the first one is, yes, that the environmental effects of agroecological practices are important in farmers' decision-making. Farmers understand that agroecology can lead to better food, better lives, better environment. They recognize that breadth of benefits. There is a very wide range of environmental factors that they're bringing into consideration. Those are utilitarian factors such as improving soil, improving water management, improving plant cover, managing pests and diseases, managing microclimate, but they are also bringing in cultural, aesthetic, and even spiritual values into the decision-making. Environmental concerns that are missing are those big global environmental concerns that often drive researchers, things like carbon sequestration for managing global warming, things like loss of biodiversity, don't tend to be part of farmers' decision-making. The information that farmers are using about environment are coming from multiple knowledge systems. It is local knowledge, it's experience knowledge, it's things that they're learning through exchange with researchers. And we also can see in the data the way that farmers' assessments depend on their individual values and priorities. Neighboring farmers assessing the same set of practices can come to quite different conclusions about them. So what does this mean? First of all, designing of interventions, practices, and messages need to bring all these things into consideration. We cannot assume that one part of the system, one aspect of the system, such as productivity, is driving everything. Those environmental factors need to be part of messages promoting agroecology. Then they can't be just left as co-benefits. Do this and you'll get more productivity, and by the way, you'll also get improved environment. The fact that we're getting environmental benefits is an important part of the attraction of agroecology to farmers. That doesn't mean, though, that we can't focus on entry points. Priorities of farmers are different in different places. And in some places, you know, environmental concerns such as land degradation will provide a great entry point. In other places, something else will provide the entry point. And finally, the part of the message has to be that environmental and other benefits of agroecology come from using multiple practices to transform systems. The focus, one of the conclusions of the project was that this focus on practice is actually rather misleading. We need to think about groups of practices that make up food and agricultural systems, and it is changing those groups of systems which will lead to beneficial transformation. Thank you.